Hello everyone, Diamond Lion is here. So, it's about that time of year again. For some of us, we've already gone back to school. I know if you're in college, you've already probably gone back to school by now. I know I have. A couple of, private schools have gone back. But a good portion of the high schoolers go back in September. So I think this video will come out right around the right time for you guys. As you can tell by the title, this is a back to school movie on just some supplies you might need and some cute hairstyles that don't take very long to do. Now I know I'm doing these hairstyles on box braids, but they can be done on any type of hair. It can be curly, straight, wavy, and I use my box braids just to show just how versatile these styles were. So yeah, let's get into this video. Alright, so obviously you're going into class, you're going to have to take notes, and if you're not in college or they don't let you use your computer, you're obviously going to need pens and pencils. I don't use pens and pencils because I do online classes, so I do everything on my computer, but if you're going into like an actual school, pens and pencils are probably a must for taking notes, for doodling in between classes if you have any spare time, or helping you study. So yeah, pens and pencils. Another supply that may come in very, very handy, regardless of whether you use a computer the majority of the time or not, is notebooks. I recently just stopped using notebooks, but I know I used notebooks last semester, even in college, to take notes in. It's more reliable than the computer, just because if your computer crashes or something happens to the files and all your notes were on the computer and you don't have anything written down like on paper or saved to another drive or something like that, then you're going to be in trouble because you won't have your notes for your tests or whatever. So a notebook is, even if it's just one, just to jot down the major things, a notebook is a very, very good tool to have in your list of school supplies. Now this next supply to have is not so much for actual school as it is just for throughout the day. If you're allowed, I don't know, I've never been to public school, so I don't know how the system works with bringing liquids into your classrooms, but if you're allowed, bring a water bottle. It can be cute, it can be basic, and just fill it with water, obviously, and then just have it so you can drink it periodically through the class, or drink it as you're walking to your next class. Just always have it with you on hand. Again, if this is a part of your policy that you're not allowed to bring liquids, then you may have to store it in your locker room for high school or in your backpack or something. But just bring a water bottle with you if you can, just so you can always have water with you all the time to constantly be drinking and keeping yourself hydrated. This next supply is similar to the previous supply, and that is a snack. I know in high school it's probably a little more strict about not bringing drinks and things into the classrooms or whatever, but if you're allowed to bring a snack in, I don't necessarily recommend eating it during class because you're supposed to be paying attention, and if you're opening bags and things, it's hard to pay attention. But bring them with you to your school, because you never know when you might not get to have lunch or something and you need a quick snack as you're rushing to classes. So just store it in your backpack so you can have it with you any chance that you need a quick munch. This next supply is a major accessory that you're going to need, whether you use this anywhere. You use this whether you're in high school or college. You can use it in elementary school, in middle school, use it in I don't know if you use it in kindergarten, probably not, but maybe. And it's a binder, and these are very, very, very helpful for organizing all of your school, especially if you have stuff turned in. I know when I was in high school, I use them all the time for turning in assignments and keeping track of what I needed to do. And so binders are just very, very helpful for that. So I highly recommend getting yourself a binder. And the good thing about binders is you can kind of customize them to make them look cute and put your name on them, so there's no confusion about whose is whose, and just make it look really nice. And it helps make school a little more fun if you have a cute little binder to store all of your assignments in. This other accessory that I'm going to tell you about is they're kind of optional, so it's technically two of them, but they're kind of optional. It depends on if you use mechanical pencils or if you use the regular pencils, and that is a pencil sharpener and an eraser. If you use a mechanical pencil, then obviously you're not going to use a pencil sharpener. You're going to need the lead that goes inside of the pencils. But if you do use like a regular wooden pencil, a pencil sharpener is a must, and an eraser is helpful regardless of whether there's a little eraser on your pencil or not, just because those wear down really quickly, and then you have a backup one, which is always nice, or you can share it with your friends. So yeah, those two are just kind of optional. Those are based off whether you have a traditional pencil or a mechanical pencil, which is my personal favorite is the mechanical pencil. Alright, so this next supply is more based off of like school policy, whether or not you're allowed to bring it, and that's a laptop computer. I know that the majority, and I think probably all colleges will let you bring in a laptop. It just makes taking notes so much easier and simpler to do. If you have to type something out that the professor is saying, and you don't know how to spell it, obviously you've got spell check, so it can fix it for you. Whereas if you're writing in a notebook, and you don't know how to spell it, or he talks too fast, and you can't figure out what he said, it's harder to be able to figure out the word, and if it's a vital word, then you kind of need to know what it is. I'm not sure about, high school. I think some do, I think it's BYOD, bring your own device, but I'm not sure if all do that. But if it works with your school policy, I highly recommend bringing your laptop with you, because, like I said, it makes taking notes so much easier. Alright, and this final supply that I have in this list today, it kind of goes along with your pens and pencils, and it is a highlighter. If you are taking notes in a notebook, or if you have a regular textbook that you're allowed to mark in, highlighters are really nice because if it's something important, rather than having to rewrite out the notes or whatever, you can just take the highlighter, put it across the sentence, put it across the paragraph or the title or whatever, and then when you're going back to take notes, you can just look for the highlights and be like, oh, this is an important section, and reread that part instead of having to read through the whole chapter or whatever to figure out what part you need for your exam or for your paper or whatever. So highlighters are also good.